Welcome back to section 6.2, Transforming Quadratic Functions, part 2. Let's review. We have g of x equals a times the quantity of x minus h squared plus k. Remember, this equation, this formula, is called vertex form. A is our scale factor. H will move the graph either left or right. And K is going to move our graph either up or down. The vertex of the graph will be at HK. Let's get started. Graph the quadratic function, give the minimum or maximum value, and the axis of symmetry. Let's start off by graphing f of x equals x squared. Let's make a table. When x equals -2, y will equal -2 squared, which is 4. When x equals -1, y will equal -1 squared, which is 1. When x equals 0, y will equal 0 squared, which is 0. When x equals 1, y will equal 1 squared, which is 1. And when x equals 2, y will equal 2 squared, which is 4. So now take those points and plot them. -2, 4, -1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 4. Label it f of x. Now let's graph g of x. Let's keep in mind that vertex form is g of x which equals a times x minus h squared plus k. So now I'm going to take my g of x and I'm going to rewrite it as g of x equals x minus 3 squared. Now I know what you're thinking, Mrs. Orca, what happened to a? A is, in this problem, it's imaginary, it's going to be 1. And as for k, we have no k value, so let's go ahead and put 0. Now let's label our parts. We have that -3. That -3 will move the graph either left or right. The thing about parentheses is that it lies. So instead of going 3 to the left, you're going to be moving 3 units to the right. And we have that +0. That's either going to move the graph up or down. But since we're not moving anywhere, it's at 0. It's neither. So now let's take f of x and just move all our points 3 units to the right. Let's start off with 2, 4. Move that point 3 units to the right. Take the 1, 1. Move it 3 units to the right. 1, 2, 3. Move the vertex 3 units to the right. Move -1, 1, 3 units to the right. 1, 2, 3. And move -2, 4, 3 units to the right. 1, 2, 3. Draw the graph. Label it. Highlight it. Now let's identify the key parts. The vertex of g of x. The vertex of g of x is at 3, 0. X equals 3, y equals 0. Our parabola opens up, which means that our vertex is also the minimum. And our minimum y value is at 0. Our axis of symmetry is the line that cuts the parabola in half. And I'm only identifying the key parts of g of x. The line that cuts our parabola in half is at 3. The axis of symmetry is at x equals 3. And that's pretty much it for explain 2a. Let's move on and do explain 2b. Graph the quadratic function, give the minimum or maximum value, and the axis of symmetry. We have x plus 5 squared. Start by graphing f of x. Make a table. When x equals -2, y will equal -2 squared, which is 4. When x equals -1, y will equal -1 squared, which is 1. When x equals 0, y will equal 0 squared, which is 0. When x equals 1, y will equal 1 squared, which is 1. When x equals 2, y will equal 2 squared, which is 4. Plot the points. -2, 4. -1, 1. 0, 0. 1, 1. 2, 4. Draw the parabola. Now let's apply the transformation for g of x. Go ahead and write the formula of vertex form. G of x equals a times x minus h squared plus k. Now take our g of x and align it with vertex form. So a is 1, since we have no number in front of our parentheses. X plus 5, I'm just rewriting the problem, x plus 5 squared, and we don't have a k value, so we'll put plus 0. Now let's identify h and k. H is 5. Remember, parentheses lie. So instead of going 5 units to the right, we're going to be moving our parabola 5 units to the left. That's our h value, and k is 0. One way I like to remember h and k is by thinking of h as a hypocrite. H, hypocrite. And k, I like to think of k as the value I like to keep. So h is a hypocrite, remember to do the opposite, and k is what we want to keep. So 0, we're going 0 units up. Or you can think of it as 0 units down. For this one, it doesn't matter because it's at 0. We'll stick with up since it's plus 0. Okay, so g of x wants us to move all of our points just 5 units to the left. Let's start with -2, 4. Let's move that point 5 units to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember, we're not moving up because if we look at our k value, it's at 0. Take the -1, 1, move it 5 units to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take the vertex, move it 5 units to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 1, move that 5 units to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take 2, 4 and move that 5 units to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Draw the parabola. Highlight the parabola. label it. That's g of x. Let's label the key parts. So the vertex of g of x is at -5, 0. X is -5, y is 0. The parabola opens up, which means that we have a minimum at y equals 0. And our axis of symmetry is the line that cuts the parabola in half. Our axis of symmetry is at x equals -5.